Hey everybody, my name is Stephanie Hamilton and I'm the creative director of Nectar and the creator of the Soulmap program. The Soulmap program is something I've created in order to help people unlock their magnificence and unlock the blueprint. And when I talk about the blueprint, I'm talking about that uniqueness and those beautiful set of gifts and talents that every single one of us has, that we're not always able to specifically know what that is, and also to be able to tap into and to manifest that. So this program really helps you tap into those areas and to find out what energy you need to move out of your life in order to make space, for this new creation. Also to be able to raise your vibration, to be able to put you in a frequency of a place where you're able to have the energy to put things in motion, and also moving into the space of creation, which is literally stepping into your authenticity. So I want to introduce the Soulmap interviews to you today, and I've created those basically as a way to bring in outside inspiration. You're able to connect with me through my website at www.nectar.ae, and I'm happy to share many great juicy bits on there that I've got, including photography, blogging, and the sessions, one-on-one sessions that I offer working with people. But it's always nice to bring in other people's stories, because I feel that adds another element. It not only keeps me going and inspires me, but hopefully it's something that can really connect with you and show how these people how their stories connect with my program, because I believe that the basis of this program can really be demonstrated in so many people's lives and what they've done to move forward. So I really hope that you enjoy this interview, and please feel free to stop by my website, sign up for my newsletter at www.nectar.ae. Enjoy the interview. Hello everybody! I'd like to welcome you today to the second edition of the Soulmap interviews. Today I'm bringing you Julia Dolowicz all the way from the UK. Hello Julia.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. And as you know, I'm talking to you all the way from Dubai. And Julia is a Reiki healer, an artist, and an intuitive counselor. Is that right?
That's correct, yeah. Yeah, that's what I've been doing for, I'd say for the past 4 years, but the last 2 I've really focused on it a lot more. So, yeah, and I'm coming to you from Liverpool, so...
Oh,
nice. It's gorgeous weather here, but it's a bit rainy, so it's nice to actually get some sunshine from Dubai.
Yeah, well, it actually looks like the light coming in, it looks like your face is nicely lit, so I don't know, it looks like you have sun.
I think it's just the freak of the light, yeah, no.
Well, you could send us some rain, because we need some at this time. We're getting into the heat, but... right, well, as I've mentioned in the other interviews before, that, we're going to talk a little bit about a lot about your journey and how that relates to the Soulmap program, which is the program that I've created. So, and the 3 pillars of that program are clarify, resonate, and create. So clarify, to make it really simple, for me is all about awakening and a shift. The resonate is all about raising your frequency or raising your vibration, and the create aspect is, basically stepping into your authenticity and moving forward with, your true, what it is, your life purpose, or even an aspect of that. It's not always the full purpose, right? Because there's so many layers to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you first of all about the clarify stage, and I'm going to allow you to sort of, find where this kind of resonates with you. So in the clarify stage, we kind of look at an aha moment, an awakening, or a shift, or something that has come into our lives to challenge us or to question, to make us sort of really look at where our life is going. So what was that, or maybe you have more than one? What was that for you?
I'd have to go back to when I was 20. So I've just turned 45. So I'll have to go back to when I was 20, and I was diagnosed with ME, myalgic encephalomyelitis is the official term. Sometimes it's also known as chronic fatigue syndrome.
Yeah, I know that one.
Mono as well in the States. So it's like intense fatigue, exhaustion, muscle pain, lack of coordination. It's like having flu daily.
Wow.
And it started when I was 20 with flu. And I was actually living away from home at the time. I was working in Manchester, about 35 miles away from where I live in Liverpool. And my mum came to get me and bring me home to recuperate, and I never went back.
Oh, wow.
So I had to I was faced with this challenge of having this diagnosis quite early on. I think it probably took about 6 to 8 months before I was actually got the diagnosis. And that time, which was like 1989, it didn't have a very good press in the UK. It was, people thought you were malingering, you were a hypochondriac, you just needed a good kick up the backside to get back to work. And it was tough. It was tough. People thought it was psychological and that it was some kind of depression.
Did you feel that? Did you feel that from externally, from other people, like personally?
Yeah, I did. I was very lucky because my mum shielded me from a lot of it. She was like this big mama bear who sort of, don't you come near me, I'm shielding my daughter. But yes, there was definitely, it was in the media, it was within the kind of the government organisations for getting any support financially. There was a lot of, you had to prove yourself. So that was tough because not only were you coping with the illness, you're also coping with the pressure around it. But very early on, and this is where I think this shift happened for me, very early on, and I'd say I probably turned 21, so I was 20, so it didn't take that long. There was something about it because there was something about the fact that I knew I had to try and heal myself.
Yeah.
Because on visiting my GP, my doctor, there was nothing he could do. He couldn't give me anything. There was no tablets. There was really not many specialists to go and have a chat with. There were a few people around doing some bits of research, but it was really my call, So and this is pre-internet, pre-Google, yes. So it was, it was live.
That can be a good thing sometimes, don't you think? Because sometimes we Google it and we go, oh my God, I've got this or I've got this, and then you start dreaming up all these things.
Yeah, but it just in the connection type of the connection side of things, it was that side of thing. I had to go back to basics. I had to go back to the library. I had to, so we had to really do a lot of research, and I knew that I wasn't. And this is as a 21-year-old, which I think now is quite forward thinking that I was thinking this way. But as a 21-year-old, I knew I had to peel back all the layers of my health and look at every aspect. My physical health, my emotional health, my spiritual health, my social health, my environmental health, everything had to be scrutinised. And I really engaged quite heavily in complementary medicine. So I think I've tried pretty much everything. And, elimination diets, I discovered that I had candida. I was awash with candida in my body. Yeah. I had to go back and do a real history check, and I found that I was on antibiotics from the age of 2 up until, constantly until I had my tonsils out. So lots and lots of clarifying.
Yes.
And lots and lots of clarifying. And I think that really, but those 5 years from 20 to 25 was a real upward journey struggle of finding my way and healing. And I really went into so many different aspects of my health, and some that might be thought of at the time. I was looking at crystals, I was looking at hair dowsing, and at the time, everything.
So what was the one thing out of all of that what was the one sort of moment where you kind of went, aha, like was there an aha moment where you went, okay, I'm actually seeing some progression here, and I'm definitely going to keep on this path? Because
I think it was, I think it was my food, because I discovered that I was severely inundated with candida. It was overgrowth.
Yes.
I had to radically change. I didn't drink alcohol. Well, I hadn't drunk alcohol that much, but I couldn't touch anything like that. I had to really look at the food and the chemicals around me.
Yes.
And because my immune system was so depleted, I had intravenous vitamin C and intravenous multivitamins. That was kind of the big, and it took a few months for that to kick in. So there was a real detox period, and I was worse.
Yes, I know. Well, I've had this. I experienced the same thing as you. I was riddled with candida as well. Yeah. So yeah, I know what you're saying, and you go through. I think it was 10 months for me. I went with no yeast and no sugar.
No mushrooms, cheese, no
soy sauce,
nothing.
Yeah, but yeah, like you say, obviously it was a time that you needed to detox. So
I had to, yeah, and I couldn't I couldn't wear perfume. We couldn't have sprays in the house. I had to. I was very, I was like very hot on it. That was my life. Was making this happen. So I had to do that, and so along with the intravenous vitamins, that kind of helped to boost my immune system at the same time. So I'd say I got kind of snapshots of, oh, okay, I don't feel I'm as bad today. My brain fog has gone slightly. I started to come out.
Yes.
And so that was by the time I was 26. And then that 26 to 29 period was really building on that, and doing all sorts of things. Reflexology was a big thing for me as well. I had it weekly, and I'd say that was very, very, very big for me. Journaling, very, very big.
That's huge. That's huge, isn't it? Yeah.
And my creativity and my art, I reconnected with my art back then. I was always a creative soul, and but it sort of helped me. It helped me to express the whole thing that was going on.
Yeah,
Because I wasn't depressed, but I had to express.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it was a very severe case, and obviously you needed something had to change, because obviously you didn't want to stay in that condition. That's not your, you're a vibrant person. Like, look at you now. Like, it's.
Well, I know, and this is great, because I remember being, I think I'd very recently been diagnosed, and somebody came along from the association, our local group, and doorbell rang. My mum went to answer the door, and this woman hobbled in on crutches, 2 walking sticks, and she came in, and she promptly sat down and told me that she'd been ill for like 35 years.
Oh, no.
Anyhow, so, I kind of stomached the whole thing. She was a lovely woman, but she went, and Mum and I just sat there and we were like, God, fancy kind of sending somebody who's been ill for so long to somebody who's newly diagnosed. I mean, but I had, my mother was so supportive in that she had a humour about her, and we were able to turn these things into a laughing thing, which was, otherwise you'd cry. And so I realised that I'd never seen anybody who'd got well.
Yeah.
I am sort of testament to the fact that, I have moved through this, and from the age of 29, I've worked my socks off catching up, really.
Yeah.
And I am completely well, and I still look after myself. I'm still aware of it, but I don't have it anymore. So
that's amazing, and good on you for taking control and moving through it. So if I go to the second pillar, which is resonate, and it was funny, you were just talking about how you had the humor and stuff, and I thought that was really interesting, because for me, humor is something that that can really raise your vibration, and take you from a feeling of a lower sort of vibrational feeling like guilt or anger, and if you infuse humor, it just completely takes you to a different place. So what 3 things would you say, going through that situation? What were the 3 things that helped to raise your vibration and help you to gain strength and to move forward?
Well, again, I'd have to say humour and the relationship with my mum, because that really did raise my vibration. So it did sort of propel me forward. And we always used to try and see the funny side of something that was so dire sometimes, sometimes. you go to have an inspection by some medical doctor somewhere, and he just doesn't make eye contact with you and barely sort of grunts. You're like, how are you there? How are you doing what you're doing? So we were able to laugh about some things that were actually quite, my writing, I've always journaled, and that would be, I'd write letters to myself. I have journals like this that I hope to transform. I've kind of been working on that now, on a book, but my journals and my writing really did. And I'd say the connections that I had as well, I made some, really solid connections with women in the complementary health field that were my kind of guiding lights, really. So there wasn't many of them, but there was like a few. I'd say there was like 3 that really did help to raise me. My reflexology practitioner, Reiki master, and she was pretty amazing and quite a foundation stone for me along the way. And thankfully, I met her early on. But the connections, the divine connections with women,
so
really
it was a
did.
combination of the humor and the connections as well as your writing.
And with the writing, I say also the craft as well, because I picked up tapestry again. I picked up jewelry, designing and making with beads and wire. I tried to just sort of, I only could have short spurts of doing stuff, so I needed to do things that I could just pick up and leave, and then But they were the 3 things that I'd say were really did help to lift me, lift my energy.
And now I want to talk a little bit about what you're doing now, what you're you've got this amazing thing that you do, and I was just so taken by it when I saw it, and I think I saw it on Danielle Laporte's side. I think that's where I saw you now when I think about it. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. Like so you do these they're called soul portrait healing, right?
Soul portraits,
soul portraits. And so I would like you to talk a little bit that in the create. So the 3rd pillar of Soulmap is create, and maybe a little bit about what it is first of all, and how that came to be, and also were there any fears in moving forward and kind of putting yourself out there with this, because it's totally unique. I've never seen anything like it. Yeah.
Well,
do you have a couple there that you can show as well, or?
Do you know, they're all on the computer. Have I got anything here? That's terrible. I should actually have something here, shouldn't I? Hold on. Have I got anything here?
If you don't, they can always direct to the website.
Yeah, I'll have to. I don't think I have actually, because I've just finished a big commission and I've actually just posted them all off. So
that's okay.
They're all at my studio. So I can definitely make some available. You can have a look at them, but. So it all started really, I was asked to do a commission for a couple who are getting married, actually this weekend. So they came to see me a year ago and said, could you illustrate our guests for us as our wedding favours? And I had already been doing similar things, but on canvas, not on paper.
So you'd been doing portraits of people on canvas?
Yeah, I had, and they'd been very quirky. They'd been quite quirky and a bit whimsical and a bit mysterious. But I'd been doing them on paper initially, sketching, and then transferring that to canvas. And obviously they didn't want canvas for 60 of their guests, so it was working out how to do it. And I just started sketching. They started sending me through all their guests, and they started the whole process. And I realised as I was doing it that I was really tapping into the people that they were sending me. I was really
amazing,
really zoning in on them and doing things. And when I checked back with them, and they'd say, "Wow, it's really interesting that you put her in that dress because that's her colours," or it just really started me thinking about sketching in this way and doing it on paper. And then in December, I've been part of an online program with Hannah Marcotti called the Joy Up. I don't know if you've heard of the Joy Up. She runs Joy Ups a few times of the year, and there's a wonderful, wonderful online joy tribe of women from all over the world. And I've been in there for about 8 months, and I basically offered it out to them and said, would anybody like me to draw them and let me kind of really integrate my Reiki symbols into this sketch, and let's see how this goes. And I thought I might have 5 or 6, you know, but along comes 75 and they say, yes, me please. So the way we did that was they would send me a couple of their photographs,
Did you end up doing 75 of them?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
75. Yeah, I did 75. But it was true. I'm going all funny now thinking about it, because there is a video that I put together of that project, but it was the most life-changing project for me. It really, doing them, I was really integrating and weaving Reiki symbols into the sketch and the illustration as I was doing it, and I was really tapping into them. And, you know, Reiki symbols for mental and emotional well-being and balancing their present, and sort of healing any past hurts. And I was really doing that. And every time I was revealing another one online, they were like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing myself differently. You're showing me a different part of myself. I didn't think I looked that way. And I realized, and they realized, that these weren't caricatures, but they were actually very deep images that were reflecting back a part of themselves that they hadn't seen. And it was just turning into something really magical. Wow. And a lot of them wanted to have the original, so I started backing them onto collage paper and mounting them and sending them and packing them in tissue, and then I just kind of really developed from there, you know, from January having some coaching and going through a business program, and I realized I wanted to move that forward because I just loved drawing women. I loved kind of helping women see themselves in a beautiful way.
Yeah, it's really
so now
cool.
I create sort of lots of audio-visual stuff. I create meditation videos for them, and I show them how they can use it in their life, in their journals, in their vision boards, in their meditation space. And because the soul portrait is actually full of Reiki, it's kind of a charged healing piece. So
it's amazing. I just think it's, I mean, you know, looking at how you've done them, like, I think they're quite, like you say, you use the word quirky. Yeah, there's something special, like even looking at, you know, I would love for you, I mean, I'm going to, you know.
I'd love to do you. I'd love to do it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm like so keen on this because I've seen them and I've gone, oh my God, that's so, it's just so amazing how you do that. And it's funny because when I did see it online, you know, you go through the Facebook feed and you see, you know, picture after picture or image after image. And there's only certain ones that really stand out. And I remember that one really stood out. And I thought, wow, this looks like something quite different. And I didn't realize at the time that you had infused it with Reiki symbols. But perhaps me doing Reiki as well, that maybe that's what I tapped into. It was like, oh, there's something really, I mean, they're beautifully done. And you can, there's the attention to detail in them is, you know, they're gorgeous, and
they are all hand drawn. You know, a few people have said to me, "Are they digital?" And they're not. I use pencil and paper, and then I use pro markers and lots of magical stationery items in there. You know, and but I started doing Soul Portrait Sunday. So every week I would take somebody from that week that's been inspiring to me, and I'd create a soul portrait of them, and then I'd then integrate that onto a digital background with some kind of phrase or quote that had resonated with me.
You've done a lot of famous people, haven't you? I saw you did one of Oprah and.
Yeah. I actually got a tweet back from Deepak Chopra. I was really happy about that.
Wow, that's amazing.
He gave me a happy smiley face back, so I thought, wow, that's cool. Deepak's seen that one. So yeah, and then I realised, actually, Julia, I can't keep up with doing this every week. It was quite a lot. Whew. So I decided I was going to do new moon. So every new moon I'm going to do one. And my lovely people on my who are sort of subscribed to me, they get access to the original JPEG file every new moon. So they get access to, they get all the back ones and then they get the new ones. So I've done loads. I've done a few men as well. They've sneaked in there, as I said, Deepak. But I just don't know. It's whoever is inspiring me that week. or
Yeah.
you know, it's really, you know, I've done musicians, and Amanda de Cadenet. I'm kind of really into the conversation at one, you know, and that did her, and you know, it's just really nice to be able to. I love doing the digi wallpapers because, and I do that for my clients as well, because you can actually add a favorite affirmation, intention, quote, lyric, prayer
Lovely. That's
to,
gorgeous.
you know, next to your image, and then you see that on a daily basis on your desktop, or you know, and that's quite powerful as a sort of,
Yeah, because the reality is a lot of us are not sitting in front of, you know, wherever you're going to put that portrait that you've actually made. So you're right, that's well, a lot of people do sit at a computer at a desk, right? So, or they're on the computer for, you know, for leisure or whatever. But yeah, I think that's amazing. So, and was there any fear in moving that forward? Like any bit of, was there any fear in kind of creating this and saying, like, obviously it was a progression, as you said, it kind of happened, but was there any point where you kind of questioned it, or where you were like, yeah, is this?
Yeah. You know, my background, this is the thing, you see, I have this split personality because my background, you know, I'm a careers coach. I work for my university here in Liverpool, and I work for a school as well. And I do, you know, I have that kind of teacher background. And this was like really stepping into my spiritual, my creativity, my heart. And it was almost like I was saying, oh, I have to leave all that behind, and will people accept me? Will they think that, you know, I've gone off the rails? And I just realised that it was something that I adored doing. You know, I love working with women. I love helping them to see themselves in just the way they are, that they're, you know, that they're beautiful, and that, you know, that the way we're reflected, you know, we see each other in our mirror, and we see differently. And when you kind of sit with another woman and she shows you, you know, she shows you
what her vision of you is, that kind of, yeah.
And I love the fact that, you know, I've been a Reiki healer now for 12 years, and I've always kept it quite, you know, hidden, really.
Yeah.
Or I've done it formally, and I've done it with animals lots, which I love, but I've never really stepped up and stepped forward. And
until now.
That was scary. You know, and I really went for it, and I've just taken small little steps at being consistent. You know, like I have to create that consistency so that I can step forward. Otherwise, it will be a little bit hit and miss. Oh, I won't do it this week, or I won't do that. But, you know, I love doing the actual images. I love creating the digi wallpapers. I love creating the meditation videos. I'm a bit of a techie as well, so I love creating, you know, using film and media as well. So it kind of goes together as a really lovely audio-visual package that you don't really find with Reiki, because it often seem to be a bit precious, you know, guarded. But I like the fact that I can be open and say that, yeah, there's Reiki symbols in there.
It's amazing. And I think that I have a feeling that you, when you talk about being consistent with it, I have a feeling that you're going to be very consistent with it, because you're going to have so many people coming to you, and, you know, the more the word gets out about what exactly you do and how you do it, and I think there's so many people that I know that will be interested, and they'll be interested in having a portrait done, because it's, you know, it's a beautiful, it's a very, very unique thing. You know, it's not like having your photograph taken or your portrait painted, like, it's just because it has that little bit of extra, you know.
It's not just energy. Portrait. So, you know, we have a Skype consultation and chat. It's very intuitive, where I'm asking you lots of questions about your, you know, your color story, and sort of what you're working on, what's presenting for you at that moment, so that when I'm working on your image, you know, I'm really channeling and sending healing to whatever that issue is, whether it's to do with your body or a relationship or a work situation. That's very much present. And then included in the package, and I'm still putting all of this together really, but included in the package is Reiki distant healing and intuitive card readings to really help support you know, the women that I'm working with. So then you get your meditation video. You also get to see the creation of it.
Wow! So this is all within the whole within your package. Wow!
So I'm just kind of putting sort of dotting the I's and putting, you know, trying to sew it all together at the moment. So that
if one of the viewers from today wanted to come and they wanted to think about getting a portrait, they can come and find you at.
They can find me at soulportraithealing.com.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/soulportraithealing. You might also see me as Jules Dolly Art, because that's also Jules Dolly, so that's kind of my other
your other
personality.
Yes.
So I'd you know, it'd be lovely. But that was a big thing, you know, in sort of bringing that all back to your pillars. You know, that was a big thing for me, and taking that step forward. Because I was made redundant 4 years ago, I had to replan, refigure, rehash my life, really. And we got an opportunity to go and live in France, and just having that time out for 6 months, really, you know, I wrote a book there, and I really reconnected with my art, and then came back to Liverpool and started to put together a working package, really, of they call it a portfolio career, I think, where you have lots of different things, different strands that you're all doing, and that's me, really.
Yeah, you sound like you've got a lot going on, but it all kind of interweaves and creates a, you know, something that's quite unique to you. So, but I really want to thank you for for doing this interview with us, and for sharing what you do with the Soulmap viewers, because I think it's really important to, you know, show people from all different walks of life and all different ways, and hopefully, you know, whatever, there'll be somebody that will tap in, that will get inspired, and, you know, somebody that may have been sick, or somebody that may have lost their job, and to know that you just need to keep taking one step in front of the other, and that, you know, just
absolutely. And that was the one thing that I really focused on, was that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that was where I was heading.
Yes, clearly you have, because, you know, it's it's really beautiful what you're doing. So thank you for
thanks, Stephanie, so much for inviting me. I've loved it.
Yeah, me too. It's been lovely. Okay, so if anyone wants to get a soul portrait done, they can visit Julia again at www.soulportraithealing.com, and we hope to see you then. Okay, that's it for now. See you later. Bye.
Bye.